Hello everyone, my name is Tomas Hunt. Like Paul said, I am a local here in Page. I'm originally from Shanto, Arizona, which is about an hour east of here of the Navajo Nation. And I myself am half Navajo. Being half Navajo, let me introduce myself in the Navajo language. Yat e. Jay Tomas Hunt, Beshi Shwan Kudichi, Chin, Chain, Shashidashno, Diet I can. And for those of you who didn't understand, what I said was Yat e. And Yat e is a greeting. Most people will say it means hello, but the direct translation is more, it is good. It's a welcome. You guys want to try that? Yat e? Very good. You guys sound like awesome Navajo people. And then I went on to give you guys a little bit more information about myself. I gave you my 4 clans. And these 4 clans are very important within the Navajo culture because they tell you exactly who you are as a Navajo. You see, the Navajo language itself is not traditionally a written language. Today it is. We use the English phonetics right out of the Navajo language. But traditionally speaking, the Navajo language is not written. And so that being said, the only way to pass down our culture and our heritage was through songs, and prayers, and storytelling, and by orally sharing this information from generation to generation. And so that's why the clanship was so important. It was a verbal way of telling you who my lineage was. It was a verbal way of giving you my family tree, because we don't have a family tree written out. And so when I gave you my 4 clans, I gave you my 4 clans. My first clan was my mother's, my second, my father, my maternal grandparents, then my paternal grandparents. And then I finished by saying, I intentionally, meaning this is how I am a Navajo. And that's just a general way you would introduce yourself when you first meet people. Because then from there you can establish kinship. You can establish kinship. I can be on the other side of the Navajo Nation and not have any blood relation with someone, and they have the same first clan, dance Cheatney, and they'll be related to me. They'll be considered my sibling, my brother, my sister, whatever it may be. And so that's just the way it is in the Navajo culture. And from there, if it was a girl, I wouldn't be able to pursue a relationship with her. Even if she was not blood related to me, I couldn't pursue a relationship with her because she is through clanship related to me as my sister. And so that's just the way it is in the Navajo culture. That's how we introduce ourselves, but that's how we build ourselves up to be as Navajo people. This is how I'm a Navajo man. And so my wife and I have the only business here in town. It's called the Red Heritage Indigenous Entertainment Hall. It's located in the Danbar Plaza. And we just opened up in March this year, and we opened up to the general public. And what we do is we do cultural presentations, Native American dancing, singing, storytelling, live flute playing, live singing. And it's a great experience. And we also do it with Navajo tacos and different variations of Navajo tacos. So it's a dinner show, essentially, is what it is. And we do this nightly, March through October, and we love it. It's been a passion project of mine. I've been dancing in the powwow circle since I could walk, and I've been doing these presentations for a long time. We also contract with some different businesses here in the area. And so after high school, I graduated, and I'm a Native American hoop dancer, is what it is. And every year down in Phoenix, Arizona, at the Herd Museum, they hold what is called the World Championship Hoop Dance Competition. I compete and I place within the top 10 of the world annually. And so after high school, I traveled around the U.S. and doing presentations for the Smithsonian of American Indian in New York, D.C., schools, universities, everywhere. And then after a while, I met my wife. And so I was like, I should probably settle down and just stay here at Page. And so I've got 3 kids. Well, I've got 2 kids, 1 on the way. And we're very excited to be here at Page, and we don't plan to leave. And so when Paul asked us to do this talk, he asked me to give a talk. I was like, I can give a little bit of information about cultural people and who we are as Navajo people. And he wanted me to talk a little bit about cultural tourism in the area and the opportunities in which we have. But I felt like, I could do more than talk, and we can actually do a little demonstration, a little preview of our show that we have here at Red Heritage in Page. And so I got a good friend of mine, Mr. Leston Fuller. I've known Leston coming up on about 15 years. And I used to do a dance called the grass dance, and I used to do cultural presentations with him 15 years ago, and he saw the way I moved and the way I danced. He said, you know what, you could be a good hoop dancer. So he's actually the gentleman who taught me how to hoop dance about 15 years ago. And that's always stuck with me, and he's been a great teacher, a great friend, and I've always appreciated him. And so when we started doing Red Heritage, he was the first person I called, Leston, hey man, I'd love for you to come and dance with us and do these presentations all over the place. He's got the look, and he's got quite the moves, really. And so he's going to be doing a dance for us here shortly. But before we get into that, I'm actually going to be serenading you guys with the flute. The Native American flute, there are many different tribes that claim claim the flute and who play the flute traditionally. And that being said, there are many different origin stories and stories about the flute and why you would play the flute. Some tribes tell a story of how the men, they would take months and months to build and make their flutes. They'd take the wood and they'd carve it out and they'd make the flute, and then they'd sit alongside the rivers and play the flute for the ladies as they're doing the chores. And as the ladies were sitting there, they tried to serenade the ladies, and typically it would be a young man playing the flute. And if the young lady enjoyed the flute, then she'd come up, take the flute, and say, "I really appreciate it," and then they'd go and do their date or whatever it may be. But if she didn't enjoy the flute, she'd come up, take the flute, break it, and make you start all over. Most people today, they'll tell a story of how it's used for inward thinking, meditation, and self-awareness. And so as I play the flute, I invite you guys, I tell a story with my flute. I liken it unto Native American jazz. I don't have it written out. I just play what I feel and how the room is feeling. The ambiance of the room is what it really is. And so as I play the flute, I invite you guys to close your eyes and think of where you are in your life. And from there, think of where you'd like to be and how you're going to get there. And if you don't enjoy it, please don't break my flute. So now we're going to go on to our next portion here. We're going to invite Leslie up to the stage here, and he's going to be doing the Native American hoop dance for us. The Native American hoop dance are many different tribes that claim to have originated this dance. One of which being the Taos Pueblo, New Mexico. They would collect the branches from the willow trees and bend them into hoops. And with these hoops, they would tell stories. And so another tribe told the story of a young man who was raised physically handicapped. very physically disabled, and at first it didn't bother him. It wasn't until the hunters and the warriors of the tribe began to invite all the young men his age out to go hunting and scouting, but they would not invite him to go out. And so, of course, this began to bother him a lot. So what he did is he went out on his own and he counseled with his holy people, or he prayed with his holy people. He did this for a very long time, and he grew tired, he fell over, and he fell asleep. And as he was there on the ground sleeping, he had a dream or a vision that if he were to go out into the forest, take the branches from the willow trees and bend them into hoops, and with these hoops dance them over and over, he would soon develop himself physically. So of course, when he awoke, he went out into the forest, he harvested the branches from the trees, he shaped them into hoops, and he began to dance with them over and over, day in and day out. So eventually he overcame his physical disabilities, and with this he became a great hunter, a great warrior. All of the women of the tribe, they wanted his phone number. And eventually he married and he lived happily ever after. And so the way you'll see Leslie do this dance is he'll start by laying out his hoops here on the stage, and he'll go around picking each hoop off the stage, creating different designs and patterns. You may see something such as a butterfly, a caterpillar, a hawk, an eagle, a crow, a snake, a horse, a flower, a basket, maybe even creatures such as Mickey Mouse. But it takes a lot of imagination to see the different designs and patterns that Leslie put together. And so if you're able to recognize anything that he put together, he would greatly appreciate it. If you would just applaud or clap, hoop, holler, be as loud as you'd like. The more energy he has in the room, the more energy he has as a dancer. If you guys don't have a very vivid imagination, well, in that case, it's okay to just fake it and applaud anyway. And so this here is Leslie with the Native American hoop dance. Let's give him a round of applause.
All right, so that was us with the hoop dance. Let's give him another round of applause. Do you want to see him do it again? I don't think so. I don't think so. So, with these dances that we do, a lot of the time there's more than meets the eye. There's symbolism within everything that we do. For example, every hoop that you see that Leslie dances with, every hoop that I hold in my hand, represents something good in our lives, something bad in our lives, an accomplishment, a failure, a problem, or a struggle that we may have. This first hoop here could be maybe we just lost someone in our family, a friend. That could be very difficult to live with, and sometimes we fall. This could be our finances. Sometimes we're doing great, other times not so well, and again, we fall. This could be our jobs, our education, our Wi-Fi. Like I said, every hoop that I lie down represents something good in our lives, something bad in our lives, an accomplishment, a failure, a problem, or a struggle that we may have. And this hoop dance teaches us sometimes in life when we least expect it. Our problems begin to pile up on us, just as you see here. And as this happens, you get to be as the hoop dancer. You saw Leslie throughout this dance. He went around and he picked each of his hoops off the stage one at a time. Each of his problems from the ground one at a time. Doing so created something beautiful in his life with his problems. So we have to apply this to our lives. We can't let our problems pile up. We have to reorganize our lives, prioritize our lives, pick up these hoops, pick up these problems. And rebuild the world that we live in. Thank you. And so that concludes our little demonstration of what we offer here within cultural tourism in the area with Red Heritage Indigenous Entertainment Hall. We truly appreciate you guys allowing us to be here. Thank you, Paul, for inviting us. We're grateful to be here just to share a little bit of who we are as Navajo people, who I am personally as Tomas Hunt, and of course, Mr. Leslie Fuller. Let's give Leslie another round of applause.